record. That way I can remember to record it. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our February edition of Business Owners Using Joomla to build websites for the small biz jug that's virtual. I don't know, we have a couple names. And it is February, and we are well into the second year of this group, and I see different faces every week, every month, which is really amazing. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about an upcoming event that is really near and dear to my heart, and that's J-Day USA. Joe and I, and Pat now is a volunteer, a new volunteer this year. Thank you. It is coming up in April. See, we moved the date a little bit this year, which is fine. It's usually always my recording in progress. We're gonna mute Paul. And let's see, let's go over to April. It is a Thursday, Friday conference this year, the 11th and 12th. But the most important day is the 13th if you're coming in person, because we're going to go to Nashville and have a lot of fun together, which is probably the best part of this event is getting together. People are coming from all over the world to fly into Nashville this year. So half of our speakers are virtual, half of them are in person, maybe even more in person. We have a packed schedule. It's very affordable, same price whether you come or do it virtually. I highly recommend that you participate in this event. It is amazing, right, Joe? I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
I just would like to say that, you know what, it's an awesome event. It really is. And I think that if you came in person, you would have the time of your life meeting people. And yeah, I really think it. I mean, I'm happy to be part of it. I was going to not go, but then I heard it was in Nashville, and I thought, oh God, I have to go to Nashville. Are you kidding me? So I'm definitely going to Nashville. It's actually Franklin, right? It's a little bit south of Nashville, just outside.
20 minutes, yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
But we'll be going in and enjoying Nashville.
Absolutely.
Same way we did in Austin last year. Pizza Bugs and Fun is on the 24th of this month, and Olivier is heading it up with Laura, and they'll have a group down in New Jersey in person, but it's again all over virtually, and they're always looking for help, and it's like a 24-hour window, but you should be getting emails from them to be able to jump in at any time and participate and test things. It's just testing things. You're not actually writing any code or making any fixes. The fixes are already there. You just have to have so many people try it out and agree that the patch worked. So I've done it a couple of times. And so that's coming up on the 24th. Anything else that you can think of, Joe, that I missed?
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So I don't see our spotlight person here yet. So we're gonna just go around. People keep going in and out. I hope that everything's all right with my internet. We're gonna go around the room. We're gonna say hello. And it is the day after Valentine's Day. So let's just say where you're from. Maybe a little bit about how you use Joomla, how long you've been using it, and what you love most about Joomla, because it's February. And I'm going to go around the room. We're going to start with Wesley, and after Wesley, we'll go to Kevin. Just a quick hello.
Hello. So I'm from Tucson, Arizona, and I've been using Joomla basically almost from its inception. I was introduced to it by another developer when I was updating a website for a nonprofit organization back, I don't know, 2004, 2005 era, whatever it was. and I had been writing in HTML and SHTML and such like that. And so anyway, I learned about this product and ended up just moving all of my sites to it ever since then. And what I love about Joomla is, what I loved initially, and I still love, is just the fact that I could have a template that was the same for all pages, and the simplicity that everything's managed inside a database. And for me, for what I do, which is basically sites that have, multiple pages, like I do a site for reviews, which has about 300 or 400 reviews for high resolution audio. And for me, this is the way to go. Instead of writing flat HTML pages that link to one another, using the database is a much better method. So that's my answer. Thanks.
Wonderful. Kevin and then Rhonda.
Hey, I'm Kevin. I'm from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I've been using Joomla for pretty much since it came out. But just playing around with it. I just started actually like getting paid for my work in the last, I don't know, maybe couple years. Right now I'm learning more development stuff, so I'm trying to get better at developing software for Joomla and other things in general. So that's what I'm working on right now. I guess my favorite thing about Joomla is, when it first came out, it was pretty much either like Drupal, WordPress, or Joomla, and WordPress seemed too simple for a lot of the stuff that I liked doing, which can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. So I decided to go with Joomla because at the time it had like the most extensions and templates out of like everything that I could look at. And you can just do a lot with it. There's just like a million different features, which, makes it kind of complex in some ways. But I like it. So, yep, that's what I got.
Thank you, Kevin. Rhonda and then Pat.
My name is Rhonda Hutchison. I run the web development side of a small IT firm called TechnoGizmo, and I'm based in Dallas, Texas. I don't know if you can tell my accent, but I know that comes as a surprise. But my favorite thing about Joomla is the way you can do customized permissions for users, showing them just exactly what they want to see and no more out of the box. To me, that hands down and you don't have to do any code to do it. And that is absolutely my favorite feature.
Oh, wonderful. Pat and then Lisa.
Okay, I'm Pat Vanden Bosch. I'm in Middle Tennessee. And that means Nashville's north of me. But I'm going to be there. I'm so looking forward to this, to finally have the conference at a location that I can afford to go to. So travel is expensive. And I've been using Joomla since, I think it was 2005, but it could have been 2006. It was right after it had moved from Mambo to Joomla. And I had a gentleman out of Denver who called me up and said, I've seen you in Google. Would you like to know how to do Joomla? And I said, what's a Joomla? So, and here I am now. I don't even know how many years it's been. Almost 20, I guess. But I love Joomla because it's given me an income. Even though I'm retired, it has given me an income that I can count on. And I just have to beat the bushes now and then when I need new work. And what do I love most about Joomla? The community. That you can talk to people, that the people like you, Robin, and Joe. You're my heroes. You've been around for a long time, and I'm still, just I don't know enough code, or I don't know enough CSS, but I can limp along and I can ask people for favors and I get information. So yes, it's the community that I love. That's it.
Same. Lisa and then Anne.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Kaiser. I'm in Virginia, about halfway between Washington, D.C. and Richmond. And I've been working with Joomla since 07, 08, somewhere in there, the 1.0 days, post Mambo, but pre the new era. I guess what I love most about Joomla is that anytime a client asks me, can my site do this? Pretty much the answer is always yes, because it's so extensible, it's so flexible. Just yesterday, I have a bunch of HOA clients, and one of them wanted a slightly more complex structure for the menus when their residents are logged in. The login button goes away and it becomes a logout button, and then there's a drop-down menu with items just for their residents. And it's just very easy to do that. Whereas some other systems, it takes a bit more finagling and work. So that's what I love about Joomla. It makes it easy for me to do things for my clients.
We're gonna have Anne go next and then Derek.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ann Noter Thomas, and I'm in Syracuse, New York. I've been using Joomla for 12 years now, I think, since 1.5. Every month, on the day I do updates for my sites, I love Joomla because 1/5 of the sites I maintain are WordPress, and 4/5 are Joomla. And almost without exception, I can get the Joomla updates done in the same amount or less time than the WordPress sites. So
That is worth everything, right? Derek and then Frank.
Hi, Derek Madge in Waterloo, Ontario. I've just recently joined this group, having retired from my day job a few months ago, and I actually just looked it up, and I started playing with Joomla back in 2008 when my local scout group with whom I was affiliated needed a website. 2 days ago, they told me we don't need the website anymore. And that was one of my favorite ones to work on. But it didn't produce any income. It actually cost me money. So I'm okay with that part. I'm a few steps behind Pat, I think. I'm hoping to earn some income here in my retirement. I have found it unusually difficult for me, who used to be organized, to keep the flow going, keep focused on getting my own site going and sprucing up the ones I do have control over so that they're going to look good when I finally put my own site up. I know that's probably not, unusual, but it's a bit discouraging. So as long as I have my coffee, I'll just keep plugging away at it.
Yeah, self-employed. That's a tough one. It's also self-motivated.
That's what I'm hoping to attain. Yeah.
Frank and then Mary.
Well, hi, I'm in Ventura County, California, which is between Los Angeles and Santa Barbara. And started working with Joomla in 2006. And it was at the behest of a former teacher of mine at UCSB who recruited me to come to work for Patagonia, the clothing retailer. And he knew that I was going to try to break out on my own. He said, well, you need to know this. So introduced me to Joomla 1. And one of my favorite things that I try to impress on my clients is the power of, well, first of all, there's lots of things to be excited about with Joomla, but is the power of menus that I think that a lot of clients come from sort of the Squarespace, WordPress, where it's one link to one page, or I try to impress on them that you're actually seeing views and you can control those views through the menu items. And now also being able to edit articles and modules through the menu item is also really great, big time saver.
Mary and then Paul.
Good morning, everyone. I'm in Washington State on the West Coast, and I have been using Joomla since it branched off from Mambo. And the thing I love most about it, I did build a couple of WordPress sites over the last year or so, and how much is in the core. I mean, there were things that we do every day in Joomla that in WordPress, I was like, what? You can't do that? I have to go find a plugin to do that? Geesh. So that's what I love.
Wonderful. Paul and then Dorothy.
Yeah, I hope my audio is working. Is it working?
Yes.
It is.
Oh, fantastic. I was having trouble getting set up. I'm almost a neighbor to Pat. She lives about 40 miles away from me, so we get together and collaborate once in a while. But I've been using Joomla since, I guess, version 1.0, and I find it a very versatile tool that's able to do almost anything. And it was a dream of mine to be able to get into a tool like that, because back in when I was working before I retired, I actually built a content management system back in the late 90s, I guess. And Joomla has fulfilled everything I wanted to do with that. I just wished I'd had it when I was working. It would have been so much easier.
Awesome. So Dorothy, we're introducing ourselves and then telling everyone what you love about Joomla, because yesterday was Valentine's Day.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, well, I'm Dorothy Fershing. I'm in Fairfax, Virginia, and like many of you, I've been using Joomla for a quite long time since it branched out from Mambo. So have a number of the others in our what began as a local Joomla user group, but we have others here, including Frank, that come in from various spots. What I like about Joomla, I've got to echo the comparison with WordPress, which if you take over someone else's WordPress sites and it's got like 35 obscure plugins and you have to figure out what is wrong with it, it is a complete nightmare. And yes, so much more is in the core that you can just do and, not worry about all these things. Yeah, in fact, it's been my experience that it's a delight, because you usually can figure out how to accomplish something in less time than you think it's going to take, so it's like, okay, once you put your mind to it and sit down, you've got it done, so that's really just, kind of a good Joomla Valentine there, because, it can just be, really satisfying from that perspective.
Yeah. We're going to go to Joe next, then Jonathan for a quick hello, and I will finish the round.
So I was inspired and deeply humbled by Pat calling me one of her Joomla heroes. So I stuck up my Joe Joomla Super J logo there. And you can see back here in the background the CN Tower. I'm in Canada, near Toronto. I'm about an hour west of Toronto. I was born and raised in Toronto, but we are in a university city called Guelph, Ontario. And that's about midway between Toronto and Niagara Falls, New York. So that would give you a good idea of where we're from. And earlier on, before we started recording, our featured speaker mentioned a name of Brian Pete. And when people ask me, how did I get involved with Joomla, I blame Brian, because Brian Pete's the guy that introduced me to Joomla way back around 2005. And I've been earning a living from Joomla since 2009. Now, before then, I was actually a manager of a large national charitable organization here in Canada, which is part of an international organization. And we brought Joomla into the organization, and we used it for an intranet and for fast deployment of microsites. And it totally revolutionized our organization. It was so amazing. And since we're post Valentine's Day, and I'm supposed to tell you the thing I love the most about Joomla, well, what I love is that my favorite feature changes all the time. There's a new thing and so my new favorite thing about Joomla, which is actually a core plugin that you can go into and turn on, and it is a an accessibility feature that if you enable it, it will bring up an accessibility thing on the front end or both the back end too, if you wish. And it has all of the things that handicapped people who are trying to use websites can turn on and off and help them. So that's my new favorite thing. If you haven't tried it, go into your Joomla 4 or 5 website and turn it on and check it out.
Nice. Okay, Jonathan, say a quick hello, and then we'll go to Carlos and just say a quick hello before I finish.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for inviting me here. I am from Brazil. I also lived in Canada for a while. Too bad I didn't know Joe at the time. But I have been working at Joomla for a long time. I can't pinpoint the year. For almost 20 years, I've directed a small web design development company in Brazil. We had a couple of Fortune 100 companies as clients. We pioneered essentially remote work in Brazil, was one of the few agencies with no office at all and really good clients in the roster. So that was awesome. And Joomla allowed me to do, well, everything. Since I discovered Joomla, before that I used, I think it was Shoops or something, some weird name, used a lot of Flash. But yeah, Joomla was the thing for me, and what I love about it is flexibility to do everything, and plus everything everyone said. Like, I really like it. I am lucky that I don't have to manage any WordPress websites right now. And I switched from I closed my company and started doing more like professional work hired by companies directly as an employee, as a product designer, but I'm thinking about going back. And just so you know, I'm from Brazil, but I'm in Japan right now. So I'm living here for several years already. And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
All right.
And again, thank you for bringing me in. I hope I'll continue to be a part of this group. I need to say, this is like, everyone is beautiful. It's very nice to be here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Carlos, we're doing a quick introduction to say hello if you'd like to go next. Going once? Okay, I'll go and I'll ask him one more time. So I'm Robin Clapp and moderator of this group.
Sorry.
Oh, there you are. There you are, Carlos. Say hello.
Hi. I was having an issue with this privacy settings of recording and other stuff, and I didn't notice I have to check. Okay. I'm a web developer. I have been involved in Joomla professionally since 2012. And I have a small company here in Spain, and I help people around the world to manage, update, and work their Joomla sites and make their things work as they expect. I have been involved in the project in lots of aspects. I have been in the events team. I have been in the accessibility team. I now offer myself for a different position, which I am not sure we can tell yet, but you will see in a couple of weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
And I also have written a book about developing extensions for Joomla 5. It's published by Packet, and I'm really thrilled with all these options and features that Joomla comes. What I love most about Joomla is that it's everything, actually, because all my life, I mean, now that I see what has been my life in these 10 years, it's everything related to Joomla. So I have been able to build my life thanks to Joomla. So I love everything. My friends got Joomla and everything. Thank you.
Yeah, so reminder once again, sign up for J-Day USA in April. Carlos is going to be a presenter there. A bunch of us.
And I will be there, actually.
Oh,
I will be.
Attending in
Yeah.
person. Yeah, we have a lot. We have a lot of folks coming from pretty far away, so that's exciting. If you want to meet them, and 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 Kevin, you'll want to check out his book because he said he wanted to do more development. So, I am a moderator for the group. The group is going on. It'll be 2 years in June. Super excited to do this. It's so easy with the help of Joe and some others that help me put this together every month. I've been designing websites in Joomla since 2006. Left my engineering job so I could raise my little boys. When they were 4, I started the web design business. Now they're 22 and I'm still doing it. And I get to work from home and I get to live the lifestyle that I want to live, and it's all because of Joomla. What I love most about it is even though I work from home and I'm quite isolated, this community brings me together with people every single day. Like if someone needs something from me or I need something from someone else, we're chatting about it, we're helping each other out, we're just checking in with each other and laughing and getting together every year is so much more important to me than the learning. I will learn a whole bunch at J-Day, but I just love the people. And that's been the most impressive part about being part of this community. We normally have a spotlight. Jeff had signed up for it. I don't see him here today, but maybe I'll have him do it next month. So we're going to go right into our presenter. And I think I'm going to have Joe introduce them if that's okay.
Sure.
If you're prepared.
Sure. So Jonathan Magoga is a very, very special part of the Joomla sphere. I call it the Joomla sphere. A while back, he was an official part of the project in the capacity that got canceled for some reason. I guess the powers to be in the Joomla world just weren't ready for Joomla to go to the next level where Jonathan is now going to attempt to build a team and work on the user experience, the UX for Joomla. So Jonathan lives in Japan, and I think this is the first time we've had somebody from Japan in our group, right? So this is absolutely astonishing and amazing. And he introduced himself a little bit to tell, he started in Brazil. He spent some time in Toronto. And yes, Jonathan, I'm so sad that we didn't know each other back then. But you know, I had to go all the way to Spain to meet Tim Davis, who is a Canadian, right? Lives here in Canada, and I never knew that. And anyways, I'm not going to take any more time. I just want to tell you that, one more thing. Jonathan is super smart and very helpful. He's part of another small group that we have, Virtual Online, and he's helped us out many, many times, especially with technical things. So he's got some skills, in the Matrix where the Vishnu says, so you've got some skills. Anyways, this is our guy this morning. Jonathan, it's a pleasure to have you here today. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what you got up your sleeve for the Joomla project.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you for fantastic introduction. Really, really kind words. But yeah, I do. I think my skills come from brain flexibility. So whatever I don't have, I'll go look for it. And I have seen, whatever I've heard from most people here is they have the same superpower. Like everyone learns and are keen to learn, and this is just awesome. I love it. Okay, let's organize this. I have been Joomla UX lead, as Joe mentioned, in 2017. And yeah, the leadership was not ready for someone pushy on the design side. I came in too strong and got the group canceled. I'm sorry. No, yes, I really came into strong at that time. The leadership was not ready. And right now we have an amazing UX designer, Crystal, who is, I think she's the wife of Nicholas Dionysopoulos, if I'm pronouncing this right, who is the brilliant mind behind Akiba. So, and she is the president of OSM, which is a major shift for the Joomla community, right? It's design leadership at the top. She has made, she has helped everyone, I think mostly everyone in the Joomla leadership to become, if not design savvy, at least design aware. So I think we are in a good position to really make the Joomla user, the Joomla experience group work this time. And I will not be the same freak I was the other time. I'll go slowly. And of course, I'm older, hopefully wiser, at least a little bit. And so Joomla, I'm still organizing my way around the documentation that was left, and gathering. I'm trying to start a group. Really, if anyone here would be interested in joining the Joomla Experience Group, the GXT, and help us out in, you don't need to be a UX designer, you don't need to be a designer, you just need to be design savvy and aware of user experience. You can contribute as well as learn as part of the GXT, right? So here's an open invitation. If you do want to become a part of the Joomla Experience Group and help us out, that would be amazing. You'd be welcome with open arms. And so for this second term in the experience group, I am trying to get one thing at a time, because still leadership getting used to that. The group was started just, I think, a year ago. And there have been some issues plaguing the collection of issues on GitHub, for example. This is the main thing I'm going to do for now. I'm getting into that a little bit later. But I'm trying to build a strategy roadmap for the Joomla experience group, right? And hopefully that will influence the roadmap of the project itself. One of my intentions is to eventually bridge marketing, touch most of the Joomla properties and help update them, both design-wise and usability-wise, and start to rebuild the bridges that I had built the other time I was lead, which is to have a strong connection with the production leadership. At the time, I was super close to Babker, who is like an amazing person, very open. I had fantastic conversations with him, and hopefully this time I'll be able to rebuild that bridge with the current leader, the next one, and as a side note, Benjamin just contacted me, and he started the bridge building with the release managers. So the UX group will also have some sprints. Sorry, the UX group will be part of some of the sprints of the release process in order to tackle any small UX issues that pop up, like fixing theme here and there. Right? Hopefully, we'll catch everything before it goes into release management for the deployment. But yeah, we're gonna be there as well. So I think it's hard to reach to everything I want to do right now, and I really don't want to overextend myself, and two, maybe seem overambitious and unrealistic to the current leadership. Right? So it's going to be one thing at a time. I understand that most of you would have some pet peeve with Joomla or some pain point that you want addressed, something you love that you don't want changed. But the path I envision for Joomla is to grow on the flexibility side, which I'm glad to see most people here like, but preserving some core knowledge. So, for example, the other time I was lead, there was a big issue with changing the interface and making the interface more flexible. For example, the feature that allows super admins to completely reorganize the admin menu, right? My concern with that at the time was, oh, okay, you can reorganize everything, you can rename stuff, and then someone who knows Joomla comes in and just looks at the menu and go, what's happening, right? So how to preserve the knowledge acquired whilst giving that flexibility? That is a majorly difficult problem to solve, right? So how to do that? And I really wanted to tackle that. I was mostly against the full flexibilization of the menu system. I can tell you I was wrong. It was not abused in the way I was afraid it would. So yeah, I changed my mind on that, of course. But preserving knowledge, preserving skill of Joomla integrators, operators, and users is a major concern, right? So how do you evolve a platform without interface shock? How do you transition, right? And with in my career, I have gotten several websites and several products that were in need for an overhaul, right? So, and it couldn't be radical because there was a user base established. But how do you do that? You do transitional phases, which is something that few UX designers tackle, and it's a major part of UX strategy. Right? So, transitioning an interface from the current state to a new one, especially if the new one is radically different, is a major pain. Right? You especially in an open source project where everyone has a voice, and the outcries of you can't do that. We know how to use Joomla. You can't go changing stuff just because you think it's better. Right? So how to do that? How to approach this radical change that Joomla needs. Right? That's one of the things I really want to tackle, and that's going to require a lot of user feedback conversations, user interviews. I hope you guys would be open to conversations. I am glad to see that a lot of people here have been using Joomla since 1.0, and you went through interface shock. You went through some paradigm changes on how Joomla works, and I would love to hear about that experience if you would have time for me. You know, have a chat. I'm sorry I can't take you out for a coffee. You're a little bit far away, but I would love to, you know, have more conversation with you. And so after organizing everything and finding the main challenges that I want to tackle, and hoping I would be able to serve the community for a long time, I need to start working on the bridges that I have built, right? So bringing accessibility and usability team members into the UX fold. In my opinion, it should be the same team, but I do understand that the WCAG spec is a monster, and it merits its own team to take care of that in June. It's really necessary. So I'm gonna try to build a really strong connection and very frequent collaboration. I had this the other time I was lead. I don't remember his name, but he was, I think, from Romania. A really nice guy. We used to talk like twice a week and coordinating accessibility implementations in Joomla in parallel with what UX was trying to do. Yeah, I think this is it for today's work. I'm facing a lot ahead. There's a long road. There are many people to talk to collaborate with. Back then I had a really good relationship with Niels Brakczak. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. He was the lead of Joomla X, which was supposed to be the ultimate modular Joomla. I think totally headless, very flexible, like you just use whatever you need, just install whatever you need and make it extremely slim. So unfortunately, that was scrapped, but for the good, because I think most users wouldn't be able to deal with that level of flexibility. Like, it's too open. It's fantastic to have as a parallel side, a parallel product in the Joomla line, but not as the main product. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go into the current challenge that was proposed by the leadership. There was a motion that was passed just a few days ago to reorganize the GitHub and issue collection because the production team is being overwhelmed. So what I'm working on is to introduce some form of visual feedback system, because there are many UX issues that are being posted on GitHub, very unstructured issues, people who don't really know how to communicate what they need, what they are trying to get fixed, etc. So
Tell you at the beginning, shouldn't it show a map where they're going to?
Sorry?
No, but at the beginning, they should just say we're going.
I'm muting them, sorry.
Okay. I thought it was with me. I was trying to understand. Okay, so trying to implement a visual feedback system where it would serve both as a permanent survey, but also offload a lot of the, I don't want to call it dumb issues, but I would say inexperiencedly written issues. I think I would call it this. So, and filter most issues through the UX group. So, for example, we understand technical problems. We UX designers in general, we can grab a unstructured question, understand the problem behind it, and format in a way that a developer would have a really easy time understanding and applying the fix, or well, making a decision on whether to apply the fix or not. So I hope we could be gateways to a good portion of the issues that are posted on GitHub. It's good that a lot of the stuff is being converted into discussions before coming into issues. But I hope it will be going through the visual feedback system before those two. So yeah, I think this is the main challenge for now, apart from getting everyone on the same page with now having design leadership acting on the community. I hope the bridges are good, strong, and if someone comes after me, they would be able to leverage everything, because I understand there's a really strong problem with continuity on the Joomla user groups, right? So whenever leadership passes on, there is most groups are not totally documented, and the user experience group was not documented at all back then. Hopefully we'll be able to get this done. I think. I'm not sure, honestly, if what I'm saying here is what you wanted to hear, but I think what you want to hear will be part of the questions and answers portion. I don't have slides yet. Maybe in the future I can give another presentation. I'm not really a fan of slides unless I really have something to show. But I do like to talk. I do like to explain my rationale. And as part of this group, I am open to help out if you need, the same way I do on the Joomla chit chat. As a member, as someone who had used Joomla professionally, selling Joomla website for many years, and I hope some of you would be interested in joining the Joomla Experience Group. And I need to reinforce this point, you don't need to be a UX designer. You can learn as you go. Your experience with Joomla is maybe more important than skill set. Skill set you acquire, but experience that you bring is like much more important. So the vision for the future is, I think it's bright this time. And I will wrap up here with high hopes and a lot of work ahead. And would love to open this up for questions.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Joe handle the questions if you want to ask around. And
Okay, and I'm going to jump in with a first question, which might be a whole different kettle of fish. But Jonathan, you would you had mentioned that you are building bridges and you're also in contact with certain, individuals within the Joomla structure, such as the production team, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to take this opportunity to exert some influence because you are tapped into those people. And one of the things that I heard while you were talking is that you mentioned GitHub, for example, and one of the things that I'm very aware of the Joomla project, and I'm gonna try and hit two birds with one stone here. The Joomla project, when you make a commitment to a tool, and we'll say such as GitHub, and then this tool becomes an issue over time, just simply because it may get unwieldy or whatever. And all different developers do use different tools. Some use PHP Storm, some use this, some use that, right, et cetera, et cetera. So tools are a thing. But Open Source Matters, which is the entity that oversees the Joomla project from the trademark and the financial point of view. So to keep the trademark secure and keep the project healthy financially, that's what Open Source Matters, how it relates to Joomla. But I believe it's structured in such a way that Joomla doesn't need to be the only Open Source Matters entity or product, if we want to call Joomla a product. So what I'm about to say is this. Has anyone ever thought of, and I know Joomla, for example, on a technical side, has an API and a framework. And we are looking always for skilled people with technical skills. And a lot of times the hot ones are the young ones that are just coming out of, university and college and in training programs. And maybe a content management system doesn't seem sexy enough for them to use. But if the
Correct.
open source matter had another product that was related to tracking, for example, an issue tracker, and created a product of its own, and then that whole team could be a whole project all by itself, but related to Joomla. So open source matters an umbrella. Joomla is one thing, something else is another thing. And you said accessibility, needs a whole thing of itself. And so this is a long-winded way of saying, is there any chance of solving some of the issues which you're tackling that it seems that would be a highly distracting thing because you're trying to fix tools that people use that really they are used to build Joomla, but really it's a distraction of the user experience. You should be able to say, guys, if we were doing this from scratch, we didn't have any baggage to bring with us, what would be the perfect user experience, and draw that, model, and then say, is there any chance, any hope in the world that we could ever get to this? Or can we take parts of this and start building it into Joomla? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm still trying to understand your question.
You're tackling issues about say, for example, GitHub, because what you're
Yes.
doing is, I call it herding cats, because you got a lot. That's a huge thing to try and fix an issue,
Yeah.
which at the end of the day doesn't really show up in the product per se. It's just you're fixing a tool. Could that
Yeah.
fix not be the responsibility of a whole different other entity, meaning
Okay.
open source matter create another product which would be related to exactly that? And so since Joomla has an API, why are we using GitHub? Why don't we make a tracker that's specific to Joomla? Now, I know that's reinventing the wheel, and the argument
Yeah.
would be,
a little bit.
would be, well, why would we do that? But look at the mess that get more, maybe just have open source matters recruit young people to solve those kinds of problems who don't want to get involved in the CMS, but they are more interested in another technical aspect.
We have the JSOC to bring young people in, so that's a really good tool. We have been part of the Google Summer of Code for many years, and most of the time it's a Joomla feature that's brought into the JSOC, but the idea is interesting. What I would say is on the GitHub side, it's what most people call a chair keyboard interface problem. So the user posting a lot of different questions, right? GitHub is a fantastic tool for developers. It's not a fantastic tool for gathering knowledge in the form of problems from unskilled users. It's not useful for tracking those issues visually in a UX way, so to speak. So in my vision, I would have something like a Figma prototype, and people would look at that, locate the screen they had the problem with, and say, here's what I have the problem, like a visual tracker. And then the UX team would understand the problem and convert that into usable knowledge and actually put that on GitHub, which is what developers understand, right? So that's one aspect of it. The other thing I'm trying to do with a tool that's called UserBack, there's a lot of resistance from the leadership of the community from integrating third-party tools, but there is an opportunity to have a feedback system slash problem reporting right inside Joomla. So UserBack allows people to implement like a tracking code. If any of you have used Hotjar, it's sort of similar. It has screen recording capabilities. It has some capabilities in the sense of capturing problems happening and then presenting that to whoever is going to fix the problem. Right? So my idea, and I'm working with the people at UserBack to try to negotiate the deal and see if the features will match, is to have UserBack as an on-demand core plugin where people would enable it, reproduce the issue, input a description, and disable it for privacy, security, etc., etc. And then the UX team would receive, or even someone in the production team if they want, just look at the thing happening as not a screen recording, because it tracks, it records mouse movements and just reproduces that. It's not actually video, it's more data driven. But have that on every single Joomla website, right? As a dormant plugin that can be enabled, issue reproduced, disabled, submit to the production, to either to the JXT or to the community. There is a new feature on Joomla that's being implemented in the next weeks, I think. That is a feedback panel on the admin area, and that's going to be step one. And if I can get UserBack to work with us, and if the features are actually a match for what I want to do, then it will be integrated to this new feedback panel, right? What you mentioned in the sense that OSM sponsoring a new project, that's a big undertaking that requires a lot of people, a lot of time from those people. User feedback is a major problem for, well, everyone, and actually transforming that feedback into actionable intelligence is a major problem as well. So two big things combined. And however, it's not a sexy problem. It's, you know, it doesn't give you visibility. It's not fancy. It doesn't have nice colors. It works behind the scenes, and it help people working behind the scenes, right? So there are people that would be excited by it, especially really hardcore developers, people who are interested in hairy challenges, you know, so very tricky things. I will talk to Crystal. I haven't heard in my time in the community, I have never heard about OSM considering another side project. But if there is one that would be important to the world, would be a free, open source, and well-maintained issue plus feedback capturing system, and then through an API integrated to whatever the developers use, GitHub, Bitbucket, whatever, Jira, and you know, anything, or I don't know, the Google Docs for the less technically inclined. But yeah, that would be a very interesting thing to do, right? And a very important product to the world. But I honestly don't know if OSM would be able to, be willing to. But one thing I can tell you is I can make good cases and I can try. Right?
And it might be a waste of your time. Tell you what, let's leave some room for some other people. If you have a question for Jonathan, just type your name in the chat, and we'll just give you the floor here. So anybody has a question that they would like to direct to Jonathan, just post your name in the chat, and then we'll give you the floor. And if Rhonda, go for it.
Okay, you mentioned a feedback feature that's coming in a few weeks. Is that going to be in Joomla 4 or just Joomla 5?
I think it's 4 and 5.
Oh, okay. That's
yeah,
very interesting.
Yeah, it's a user feedback module right into the admin. I am not sure if that's going to tie directly into GitHub issues or discussions, or if it's going somewhere else. I don't have all of the details, but yeah, it's coming up, I think, shortly. Yeah, and long overdue. Long overdue, yeah.
I'm going to turn this into a real messy question and answer thing because we have Jonathan here. If you could change one thing about Joomla, what would it be? Anybody want to grab that and toss that out to Jonathan? Oh, I can't believe we're so shy here.
I was gonna say that I'm still, whenever I get start a new Joomla 4 site, I'm using the Foca top menu module because I just can't handle the side menu still in the admin. I understand its uses, but I tend to work, I have a large screen, I tend to work on half my screen, and it just takes up too much space for me. So I'm always putting that top menu module back in. I'd love to see it as part of core, so I don't have to add a menu or module menu every single time I'm building a new Joomla 4 site. That's one of the things I liked about Joomla over WordPress was the location of the admin menu, and I really dislike that it's on the side now, or at least that you don't have the option. of where it goes without adding stuff. Because that, for me, that's one of the big pluses of Joomla over WordPress. You can do so much in core that you can't in WordPress. And I work about 50-50 with WordPress and Joomla, unfortunately, because I really dislike WordPress. Like, a
Sad
lot.
to hear that.
Yeah, really hate it. But people come to me with broken sites all the time, and I do a good job fixing them. So I have a lot of WordPress sites that are just, you know, I didn't build them. So, but that's, yeah, I dislike that I felt like it was copying WordPress UI, and you know, it's not the same, but it's also, that's my biggest pet peeve right now is having to throw that menu back up there because I'm very attached to it.
All right, I'm gonna say I'm hurt. I was the one who proposed that. Oh.
I was going to bring that up, and I thought I won't tell anybody that
Yeah, no,
was an idea that originated, or at least you had something to do with. That's hilarious. But you
I
know,
did.
the back end is they spend a lot of time making it accessible, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's going back and forth between J4 and J3 sites. Like, I'm much more used to the J4 now. J3 feels very old and dated. It's
Yeah.
nice and big, and everything's, you know, easy to use. I don't make a lot of the adjustments that I used to because I'm more used to it now, but I still miss the top menu a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm alone in that, but
Yeah. But let me give you some reasoning for that. There has been a major user research conducted by the NN group, which is a Nielsen Norman group, or no, I don't know which one comes first, and about usability of menus. And the top one is, especially when you have submenus, the most usable choice. And I think that research was done with a couple, I don't know, 20-30,000 users, is side, right? And the least usable is top, side, top, and vice versa, like crazy mix. So it's either top and mega menu in the second place, but first place is side. And at the time, in 2017, I was trying to propose a side mega menu because, especially for newcomers, having explained menus would work super well. Like, you don't just have the name of the menu, but you have a little card with a description of what that does, a very brief description. Like, for modules, come click here to, or no, this part of the interface runs everything you see around your content. You know, copy needs to be designed for that, but the idea comes from solid user research. So ideally it would be flexible. You could choose top or side, but at the time there was no option to flexibilize that. So we went with the user research that pointed that sidebar was the most usable, especially for admin interfaces. And with the plans for a mega menu, either top or side, a sidebar mega menu would give a lot of space for explained menu, right? And that is especially useful when you reorganize and rename the menus, and then you get someone with actual knowledge of Joomla and goes there and what the hell is happening? And then they are used to the cards and they have the explanation. Oh, this is that. Okay, right. So yeah, that's the reasoning for that.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. Let's get Kevin in here. Kevin, you're next.
Hey, so I had a question since you seem like I guess a UI guy. What's going on with I like dark mode in the back end a lot, but I was wondering about like its implementation. Like right now it uses for Joomla 5, they prefers color scheme dark, I think, which is set at like the browser level or the operating system level, depending on, you know, what you're using. And I know like Bootstrap and a lot of other systems, they use like a CSS class or like a data attribute to to set that, and then they trigger it on and off using JavaScript, and they use that to detect with the preferences, but then they allow the user to switch, back and forth between dark and light mode. And I didn't see that functionality anywhere in the way that Joomla 5's backend is implemented. So for the most part, I like dark mode, but there are certain like extensions and areas, where things don't look quite right, or they're even just like impossible to read because it's a third-party extension that hasn't, done anything with dark mode yet. They haven't just added their styles. I was curious what your thoughts were on that.
Well, yes. First, I have nothing to do with current dark mode.
Disclaimer.
I'm taking mine out of the shooting line. No, I'm joking. It's I don't think the current dark mode is good. To be very honest, the design leaves a lot to be desired, and it does need a full reworking. Right? The problem with modules and extensions, plugins, not taking advantage of dark mode and, as you said, not working properly is there is nothing we can do except document, and there are lazy extension developers out there, right? So if it doesn't work, half of the blame is lack of documentation on the side of the community, and documentation is not a sexy problem. To reuse the same word, is not a sexy group to be in. It's a very bureaucratic group, and it takes a special kind of mindset to write documentation. Hopefully, they will be starting to use more LLM products to streamline documentation writing, like GPT or similar technologies, Gemini, which would kickstart a lot of the work, and then just give documentation reviewers a few minutes of reviewing one part of the documentation, and then it's live, right? So on the Joomla side, documentation on the how to implement dark mode, and on the extension developer side, well, do your job, right? But yeah, ideally with proper documentation, people will start to convert their modules, extensions, etc., to work well with dark mode. And there could be an argument to try to do automagically. That's very hard because there are many different products, and you can't really interfere. It could break a lot of stuff. So Joomla couldn't just grab a non-compatible with dark mode module and make it compatible on the fly. It could, and it probably would break a lot of stuff. So I'm sorry, that's not doable. So on our side, I'll propose that to the documentation team, and with I think it's core of the JXT to rework the template of the backend. So I would say J6 may have a better admin interface, a better dark mode. I'm not sure if we can do that for J5. I'm not sure how long J5 will be around, but the lifetime of the Joomla releases have been reduced. So it's much more likely that a better dark mode is going on J6.
Thank you.
I answered the question, yes.
So Derek from Waterloo made a comment. Derek, I like your comment. Why don't you jump in here and just flesh that comment out a little bit about the concept of the user back?
I'm actually very unfamiliar with user back. I just kind of glanced at it and said, "Oh, I can't afford that." But if you want like immediate, okay, I'm coming from a place where I'm still learning a lot, after having just been kind of fallow for a while. And when I'm having trouble, the first thing I do is Google Tim Davis on YouTube. And the next place I go is to the actual Joomla help. So I was just thinking that if I'm having trouble in the admin area and there's a menu item that says got trouble, and I don't mean just the help button, although perhaps that could be associated with it, give the option of, okay, here's my trouble. I don't know where this is. Should this be moved? Is that the kind of feedback you're looking for?
Not in the sense of support. I think from what I understand, your question is you're more concerned about support, which is something the community, I don't think they have the human power to do that. They don't have enough members to do that kind of support. It's more the thing I want to do is related to actual bug reporting, but in a visual executional way, right? You have a problem, Joomla is failing, and you don't know how to explain that, so you just enable the plugin, go there, make it fail again, submit.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I like that even better.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to drive
that's the idea.
I'm going to drive you crazy then. With this whole thing in mind, would it
Joe,
make?
it's the first time we're talking, right?
I
It's the
know,
first time I'm
I
seeing you.
know,
Don't
but
drive me crazy.
yes.
No, I'm
Now
joking.
you really
Just
get to know me.
bring it in. I love that.
Is there any way that, again, here's another sexy project that we could attract young people who want to build artificial intelligence, for example, and hook them into the documentation team so that the AI, like a chat GPT, would draw its intelligence from official documentation. So like right now, I use a tool, a subscription that's coming from Weebler, which is called 4AI. But the only thing I use it for is to use the ChatGPT API, and I ask questions to ChatGPT, and I get some really good answers back. But ChatGPT is obviously a product that's out there that you pay money for. But if somebody built and you can build AIs based on your own knowledge base. So I know it's hard to get people to do documentation because it's not sexy, but building AI is sexy. And if you hook it into documentation with now we might be cooking with, gas, so to speak.
Yes, cooking with fire, I think the question is.
Yes.
So that would be beyond lovely. AI still has a cost. Even if you build yourself, you still have hardware costs, processing, very expensive hardware, electricity costs, network, etc. So it's not just building AI. Unfortunately, I think there will be a time when processing power will be nearly free, but it's not yet, right? There are a few ways that I have, and I have been working with them, ways of inputting knowledge into AI, so to speak. You can train it, which is the most expensive by far. You can hook it up to a knowledge graph, which is the way to go for documentation. And you can do embeddings on vector databases, which is better for maybe more abstract, unstructured knowledge, right? So think about the knowledge graph as a form of database where you would actually store knowledge, is in the name, and allow GPT to retrieve usable bits of documentation information. So that can be built. Honestly, with the new GPT's feature, I think that's still behind the GPT paywall. I'm not sure if that's free for everyone, but even GPT 3.5 could hook up to a knowledge graph and serve Joomla documentation. I'm not sure. OpenAI still pays a lot for hardware costs to Microsoft, even though they have, a good partnership. So I'm not sure we could get something free from them. There could be a possibility to, I don't know really how Gemini works on the knowledge graph connection, but we could try something there. The idea is to try to get an AI provider to give us free stuff, right? Not only free basic use, but open this to everyone who wants to, use Joomla. I know Gemini is free for basic use, but is there a way to implement that hooked up to a knowledge graph? So this could be a major project, not major because it's pretty simple to do, but it could be a major endeavor to get the leadership on. And I can certainly plant the seed into the documentation team, right? I think they will like the help from AI. Right? I know some people is still reluctant to bring AI into Joomla, and I understand the concerns, and I agree with most of them, especially security, privacy, etc. But it's a great tool. So it's evolving very fast. I think we can get to a point where we can bring it into the core. And the for AI assistant, I think it's pretty crude compared to what can be done. So Joomla documentation can be built with LLM products, and as a secondary step into the same process, feeding that generated content into a knowledge graph, and then making that available through whatever LLM you're using, something in-house on Joomla, which I don't think they have the money for that, or some donated processing from OpenAI or Anthropic or Google. But that could be an excellent way to solve. One thing that AI is not able to do yet, but I know people are working really hard on that, is to get an LLM to scan the whole project on GitHub, for example, and actually understand every single part of it. That's not even Copilot can do that, GitHub's Copilot, right? It doesn't really understand everything from a holistic perspective. You need to zoom in into whatever file or one level of associated files to try to get some help, but it doesn't understand the whole system yet. Whenever it happens, then an LLM-powered documentation system would really, really, really shine. Because
so just in case anybody's lost what the term LLM means, language learning model is what we're talking about here, right?
Large language model, yes.
Large language model, okay, and that's what is AI. It really is in this current state.
That's what GPT is. In my opinion, GPT is not true AI, but yes, that's what the thing is.
Yeah, large language. Great. Okay, so we are at the official time of our user group meeting, and Robin, where are you?
I'm up here. I really appreciated the style in which you gave your presentation, where you talked for a while and let us ask questions. That was very nice. Thank you.
So, Jonathan, I don't know if you are able to hang around at all, if anybody else has any. Okay, so people, you have an opportunity to talk to Jonathan. That means you have influence because He's
I'm building
he's
it.
only yeah, he's only just 2 steps away or 1 step away from some of the decision making. And okay, Lisa, you have to run, but thank you. And then if anybody else has
Thank
to
you, Lisa.
run, yes, you're very welcome to sign off here. But if you want to hang around and you have any more questions, is that Carlo? Do you have a question? Yes, Carlo, go for it.
Yeah, I actually have a question because well, you are an expert in UI, and well, I mean, thank you very much. Well, first of all, thank you very much for your presentation. It was very,
Thank you.
very great. And it's great to be able to chat with you here. My question is about Gutenberg. You know, we have been suffering Gutenberg in WordPress from a lot of time. In the Forum for the Future 2020, it seems like centuries ago, but it was like just 4 years ago. We discussed the missing opportunity of not having a visual builder in Joomla. Looking at what WordPress is doing, it seems like they are changing the game to a visual builder instead of a content-based CMS. And at the
A
moment,
page builder? You mean like a page builder?
no, not a page builder. I mean a builder for content.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Basic. Okay.
I mean, Gutenberg is a content builder, a page builder.
Oh, okay.
Right now they are doing it also for themes, so it's like more a page builder too. But they were asking about the content builder, and I remember that one respected member of the community at that time said that Joomla was not sexy. It was not. One of the problems we had was that it was not exciting to post content in Joomla. And I kind of agree at some point of this lack of sexiness. As a developer, I really dislike builders, but looking at Drupal is integrating Gutenberg into their project, into their CMS. I would like to know your personal opinion about Gutenberg and about getting Gutenberg or something similar into Joomla.
Okay. First, I would like to say I am not familiar with the current state of Gutenberg. I understand what it does, but I haven't explored it. I'm gonna make a parallel with my opinion on page builders, which is the closest thing. I dislike them as the only thing you do on your website. I like them when you need to build a landing page, right? So for writing content, I think the most powerful thing you can do is give the user the fewest interface options as possible so they can focus on the content. For example, if they are writing a blog post with images, that's what they need, a basic editor, and not having to mess around with different tools on the interface, like the simplest as possible approach for content posting, right? But a lot of people would prefer to make their content landing page-like, and I am totally okay with that. Like they can even try to make into a family of an infographic. There are people who like to write content like that. So that's my opinion on page builders, and by extension to about Gutenberg is it depends. I like it and I dislike it. I would not make it the core thing because it complicates things in general for basic users who may just want to post content. And I have not seen any page builder that's simple enough that would, just work. It's always a lot of crap around, a lot of options, a nightmare that is quite quite likely to drive users away, right? So if done well, it could be a powerful tool. If you need it because your content is landing page like, then it's a powerful tool and you're going to learn it anyway, right? You need it, you learn it. But I do prefer a simpler approach for general content.
So, Jonathan, let me jump in here with Joomla Core and custom fields. So people do language, or pardon me, they do layout overrides. So for an article, if you were to create an article override that required custom fields, is there a way that a person could design something that would make a wonderful, say, beautiful looking landing page that has those custom fields that a person uses, and be able to make them available to import into the Joomla core, say Joomla 4? Because I'm thinking of, I think it's UTheme allows you to export sections, export pages as JSON files, and then import them into another site. And that's to me, that's really amazing. So if you kept everything in Joomla core and you were just using Joomla's inherent capabilities, but you're looking for somebody that had a better sense of design, and I get it that, you know, when you do a layout override, you also have CSS to consider and all the rest of it in order to really build that page. But isn't that why people use a page builder? Because it gives them these beautiful designs that they can whack together that maybe otherwise they didn't have the skill to build. And yet you can do the exact same thing that that page builder did, and you can do it with Joomla Core, providing you have the skill. So if somebody has the skill and did it, can they make those layout overrides available and importable into the Joomla Core?
That's a very good question. The way I do it is I code custom modules.
Okay.
And then I provide a limited set of fields to the user, and they will just input the information that's necessary. And I have full control of the layout. This is what I call an art-directed website. Back when I had my agency, I also played the role of art director. And I've done a lot of websites in that way. Like you code something that's 100% inflexible on the admin side, so the user cannot break it in any way. They input the content, and then but that requires a lot of expertise in CSS, etc. Building the module. But the module is very simple actually. But you know, there's no preview, which is a problem because I'm not that good of a developer. If I were, I could implement a preview, but as soon as the user is familiarized with the way the module works and the output, they can just visualize it in their mind. It's very easy, right? Or they can just go to the website, look at it. Oh, it would look like that with a different image. That's my take on. It's not exportable. You install the module on a different website. It brings the CSS with it, but yes, that would be lovely. The ability to have a piece of layout override that you have done exported somewhere else, it could be great. I'm not sure how that's doable because you could do it in different levels. And off of the top of my head, all of them are complicated. Right?
So
It
Carlos
would
is
not
saying it could be done
satisfy.
with easy layouts, but that doesn't easy layouts bring with it its own library and everything along with it. So you're installing a major component.
Yeah. So yeah, the idea is to have it in core. So that could be an interesting feature. What I would like to be able to do is not and one of the very few things I like about WordPress is the how do you call it? We have that in Joomla, but it's not very well explored, which is when you put some code inside curly brackets and it replaces the rendering. What's the name of shortcodes?
Yeah, somewhat like a short code or
Yeah,
plugin
like a
code.
short. Yeah. So being able to export the override and reuse the shortcode on another website would be cool. What would be even cooler is to tap into the other website via API and hook it up directly. Right?
Oh my goodness, so would that require somebody to be more at the a developer level to be able to grab that concept?
Not really. You just point to the website, and if you know the name of the layout, it should do everything automatically. But that's a major thing, and it would possibly open up a lot of security issues. But
Yeah.
that would be from a user perspective, very nice, very nice. If you have this kind of exportable layout, you wouldn't even have to go through the trouble of exporting, importing, reformatting, or whatever. You just link the website and say, I want that from there.
Is that how UTheme works?
I don't know.
Yeah, so you have like in the page builder UTheme, you have a button that says layouts, right? And you click it and it shows you all the layouts. And if you like it, you import it. It's got to be coming from somewhere else in order for you to import it. So it sounds to me similar to what you're describing.
Well, they have the layout library, right? This way by API would be anyone is a design, like every website would be able to contribute layouts. That would be a new level of sharing amongst Joomla websites. But there are a lot of security issues with the API connection, in my opinion.
Okay, I don't want to hog the floor. Does anybody else want to toss something in Jonathan's direction or ask a question? What time is it where you are right now, Jonathan?
2:43 a.m.
2:33 a.m. Make it worth his
43.
while, people. Look at this guy.
I'm
He's
good. I'm good. I'm
sacrificing for us.
usually up until 4.
I'll ask a hard
Don't worry.
question, and it may not be so much of a UX question, but is there ever going to be any plan of adding something to Joomla so that when you install it, it asks you if you want to be part of the community or informed of what Joomla is doing in the world?
Oh, that's lovely.
That's
will
what they
push
do
for
on
that.
WordPress. And they push back on it. It's a marketing thing. We have a small community. We don't utilize it enough where people are actually installing and working inside Joomla. We don't ask very easily, do you want to give us your email to use on a very limited, very specific basis?
That's fantastic. Thank you for that. I think it's not hard to do.
It's not.
There's no privacy concerns. There's no. I don't think there are anything that could go against it. It's a simple question, and it could go away like most of the warnings and pop-ups on the first view of the dashboard. So it's an invite, it remains there. The Joomla already has the messages system, right? The systems message system. It could be part of that, but I think it would deserve its own Joomla admin module, a well-designed one and a more prominent one. Yes.
Yeah.
So I will
think implementing it is the biggest problem, and Mike will probably attest to it. It's a marketing thing. Like, what do you do with that information? And it should at the very least point people to the website and say, here are coming events, or here are the user groups, or here are the different ways you can volunteer, and just be like that at the very least, even if you didn't want to collect an email. But yeah, there's definitely a shortcoming that can be implemented very easily. And it's just a matter, I know I've been part of many discussions, and we are the best kept secret. And this is one of the reasons why, because we're afraid to say, you know,
Yes.
we are afraid to advertise to our users, and we're all in a group right here. We make money from this website platform. We're giving you permission, I think, by making money on this, to advertise just a very little bit to us.
Yes. So,
yeah, you know, if you have something like a suggestion box that actually was targeted so that it wasn't just going into one great big mess, you know, and in other words, if a person said, if I have a fantastic idea that's related to whatever, and then that could go into a specific area so that the right person, you know, would actually be looking at it and considering it, because I think people have fantastic ideas.
everyone has at least the potential to have fantastic ideas. And in my career, what I see as the challenge that works against fantastic ideas is the ability to bring that out in a format that's usable, right? So I'm pretty good with brainstorming, and I like to call it UX interrogation. Like bring something that bring an idea that someone has, but don't know how to articulate it into something understandable, meaningful, that makes sense, right? So I'm not sure how much I'll be able to grow the JXT, but at some point, I would like to start having, whenever the feedback system is implemented, reaching out, if there's no privacy concerns, of course, to whoever submitted some specific feedback that could be a seed of a great idea, and help them develop that, right? I like the kind of user voice thing for big ideas as well, but I don't think Joomla had that some time ago, but it was scrapped because it became a nightmare to run. But I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, that's okay. It's late. It's 2:30 a.m. where you are. I hardly blame you.
No, that's okay. I'm usually up until 4. It's the breadth of the question that got me a little bit further.
Yeah,
I'm sorry about that. But it's a really interesting thing. First, of course, the bringing to the community, and then how to leverage good ideas, right?
Well, they're related in a way, because
yeah,
many ideas can't be implemented because you don't have enough people to do it. And what if we could ask people who just don't know that there's an opportunity to volunteer,
right,
to help us? You know, like you've got people installing Joomla all over the world every single day, and you're not even planting a seed. And then if you could have all of these, if you could do it, and even a very, very, very small portion of it could then become part of the next team or the next generation, then maybe you could get the workforce to be able to monitor these things, or to write this documentation, or to make these changes. So yeah, sometimes I mean, I've heard it so many times, we don't have enough people to do those things that you're asking, but then you're not asking people in a way where it seems like you're installing it. Why not just put something?
Yeah, there is in the psychology side of UX, the sense of ownership, right? And that can be a powerful tool to bring people into the fold. they have an idea, they contribute, they are heard, they are talked, they are welcomed with their idea, and that sense of ownership of the idea of the solution, and the relationship that starts with that can help bring that person into the fold and become an active contributor, right? Especially in the realm of that, the implementation of that idea or the formatting of that idea. I don't know, maybe the person has more UX experience, they bring an idea, they are welcome, and they feel the sense of ownership, which can translate into a sense of belonging if they're welcomed well enough. And then here's a new someone on the team. So that is one of the things I want to do. I had some conversations with Crystal, and I think I talked with Sigrid with it, about it as well. There's a group that is a Joomla user engagement group, sorry, and there was some consideration about bringing that under the user experience group, because engagement is essentially experience,
Good
right?
match, because of all the things you just said, you understand the human experience, the user experience, and they're
Yeah.
logistically, they don't know how things are implemented, or yeah, it's a good marriage, I think.
Yeah, but at the time I had this conversation with them, I think it was a month and a half ago, there was a sense of this would be overreaching a little bit.
Yeah.
For the budding JXT team. So this is on our sites, and even if the engagement group remains separate, I plan to build not only a good bridge, but have licensed people there and here, right? Bring people from the engagement group into the user experience group and vice versa, right? And start a more solid relationship on that front. But UX can contribute a lot of psychology knowledge to the engagement group, and we know how to elicit feelings, but also there need to be a response from the community. Like we can't, there are some members of the community who are more strict and more harsh in their talking. We can't have them welcoming new users. So and those people are important. They have extremely strong skill sets. People's skill sets are not one of the strong ones, but they're like super valuable members of the community. So to each their strengths. If we can, if the UX group can help the engagement group, that would be lovely. And it's in my sights because of that conversation. I think it was Sigrid, with Sigrid. Yes.
Wonderful.
Jonathan, I have another question for you. What would be the motivation of a core Joomla developer who is actually the qualified person that would be able to submit code to Joomla? And often those individuals, and they're necessary in order for anything to get into Joomla, those individuals quite often don't even use the GUI aspects of Joomla. They do everything, command line, and they're actually using Joomla in a way that perhaps I'll call it the retail users use Joomla. A very smart Joomla person explained to me that all Joomla is just a really fancy front end for a database. And right, and that all the functionality is there to save you from having to do it in a more technical fashion. Yet it's those kinds of people that are the core developers of Joomla. What motivates them to even be the least bit interested in coding anything that has anything to do with a whole demographic of user, and they don't actually use any of these tools?
The disconnect.
the short question is I don't know.
Mhm.
Short
How
answer,
much?
sorry, is I don't know. The long answer is I can have a good idea. First is, you know, I'll go back to the word ownership because they developed it, they own it. It's part pride, part not the bad pride, pride as in the good feeling of having built and contributed something. Um, the part the wanting or willingness at least to contribute more. And as hardcore developers, uh, they take guidance from the developers who are more community oriented, right? So their motivation is, in my non-expert opinion, but at least I have a good psychological understanding of it, is the contribution in itself and the result of it and the good feeling that comes from it, the pride they take in their work. So all of that, regardless of the way they use Joomla, and building a flexible tool that can work in many ways and still be solid, it's a challenge that I have seen many developers love. So my take on this is, and I don't have hard data to back it. I have only psychology knowledge and a good feeling about the community, touch with the community. This would be essentially it.
Awesome. Well, I know that I have to get ready for another meeting in a short while. So,
Hours went by
Robin,
very quickly, so I
mhm.
appreciate all your extra time, and this has been a really interesting conversation and an insight into what's going on um, behind the scenes. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone who came on today to enjoy it. And I will put up the recording and share it with the Facebook group and the email.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm part of the group. I hope to become more active, open to questions. As I said, I want to talk to some of you, maybe all of you if you have the time. Um, Individually, of course, trying to grasp your understanding of Joomla, the feeling about the evolution of the platform, uh, your wants and needs regarding new setup. So I do want to be an active part of this group, and maybe even I'll be a real Joomla seller professional because I have done that. I walked away from that. I'm thinking about doing it again, living off, selling websites. I have a few websites myself, for personal stuff. So yeah, I'm always open. I'll be part of the group and possibly as a full, Joomla integrator. But at least I'll be there. If you
Well,
have any
we love
questions,
it that you're going to be here because you are a very, very talented Joomler,
thank
and
you.
we love you guys. And so thank you for not only coming out today and giving us a good idea of your impact and what you're doing for the project, but also the contribution that you make. We think our little Joomla jug here, website or business owners that use Joomla, is the best virtual jug around. I know we have stiff competition. Some of the people in the UK might take exception to that, but nonetheless, nonetheless, we've had some awesome presenters, and we're also looking for future presenters as well. I have my little hit list of people that I'm going to chase down. But if you know somebody that you think would make an excellent presenter to this group, please let us know, and
Okay.
we'll invite him or her. to come and share their experience and knowledge with us. And this is there's some people in this group, and we heard it earlier. This is their lifeline to the Joomla community, is being able to meet like this. And Robin, thank you very much for getting this group going. And so we don't have Tim Davis here today to close this up. So Robin, you have to do it today.
Wherever you are. I don't know what he says. Thank you for coming, and we hope that you continue to have a wonderful day and enjoy your work and thrive in everything that you do.
All right. Thank you. We'll look forward to seeing you again next month. I will let you know ahead of time who our presenter will be. We don't have it lined up just yet, but we are looking. So thanks for coming out today. Everybody have an awesome day.
Bye.
Bye.